happening, everybody? What is going on? Hopefully everyone's enjoying their day so far. And, also as well that, as everyone's enjoying their day, you're doing good. So one thing that I want to tell y'all real quick before we go into it, y'all probably like, wait, hold on. Where is Charlotte? What is going on? So y'all know how the sales world is. She had an important meeting to go to close some business and obviously run her sales role. So we will make it up to y'all. We will have her on the next time. So if you were expecting her, she's not going to be here for this episode, but she will be back. So wanted to say that, David. I don't know if you want to add to that, but that's what's happening today.
No, we love Charlotte, and we and all of her content that she puts out. We're really excited to have her on at some stage today. It wasn't that day, but hopefully we can still give you some actionable insights and make up for her expertise.
Awesome. So let's first and foremost, before we go into that, tell us where you're tuning in from, and also if you have anything exciting to share with us this week and say, hey, I booked a cold call meeting today that was new. Like I tried out something from the last show that was successful. We love to hear the wins from what people have learned here today. And then also as well, if you want to come on live and do a mock cold call, that is our purpose. If you haven't been here before, if you have a cold calling script that is new, a cold calling script that you're struggling with or whatever it may be, come on the video Q&A. We'll bring you on. We'll do a mock cold call. We'll do our best to be the persona. Like some of us haven't been CFOs or CIOs, but we aim to do our best, and we will do that as well. And if you have a question and you don't want to come on camera, that's fine as well. Put it in the Q&A. We will answer those Q&As accordingly so that we can make sure to get the most out of it across the board. And if this is your first time here, let us know if it's your first time. And if you're a returner, let us know as well. So we're excited about this episode, and let's get it rolling.
Look, have you seen this mix of where people are from, Morgan?
I'm looking right now.
This could be the most eclectic mix I've ever seen. We've got Warrington, UK, which I don't know whether you know where Warrington is, right through to Brazil. So we are so happy to have so many different people from around the world join us today. Super, super, super exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, there's even cities in here I've never even heard of before. So that's when you know it's getting wild in here. So I appreciate everybody showing up and supporting. Like I said, if you want to get started here, hop in the Q&A and we can get you started on there as well. Now, as people figure out what questions they want to ask or they want to hop in the video Q&A, let's just throw a question out there, David, for everyone. I'm curious on this. You're obviously in the weeds with your team on a day-to-day basis. They're making calls, they're doing certain things. What would you say is like the number one thing in this environment that someone should be paying attention to when they're cold calling that you think most people aren't?
Oh, great question. What is the number one thing that people should be paying attention to today? I'd say first thing is to just start doing it. I don't know, I don't know about you, Morgan, but the cold calling is dead brigade just seems to be becoming louder and louder. And do you know another wave that I'm seeing? And I saw a post today, and I can't give credits because I just can't remember who posted it, but I think it's become more popular on LinkedIn, or the post was saying that it's become more and more popular on LinkedIn. People saying that, you should make 10 targeted calls a day, and that's going to be way more effective than 70. And that number keeps dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. And I think that, we know from basic numbers, if there's roughly, even on a really good day, I think you'd get like a 10% connect rate from mobiles.
Yep.
Cold, right?
Probably.
So if you're making 10 calls a day, even if they're super, like very, very highly targeted, you're speaking to one person a day. And it should be so comfortable doubling that up, tripling that up, quadrupling that up. Now, there is a level to that, but yeah, I think I saw that post there and I couldn't agree more. I think we just need to be picking up the phones more. I think it's such a fantastic channel. Cognism, I can speak for the 75 SDRs that work here for Cognism, and how we're booking about 75% of our meetings from the phone today, and that's across 3 different countries, 3 different economies. So yeah, let's be doing more of it. I know that's such a basic one, but yeah, that's the first thing that's sprang to my mind, Morgan. I don't know whether you've got anything on your side.
I don't. I think the reason why people say things are dead is because it's easier to say something's dead than to find a way to make it work. Most of the time. Not saying all the time, but most people are like, "Oh, that doesn't work," and because they did it like 5 times and it didn't work for them. Versus like saying, "Hey, I did it for 30 days. I made X amount of calls. I did these things. It did not work for me." I'm willing to accept that more than the person who does things 5 or 10 times. Same thing happens with people with video. They'll send 2 videos and be like, "Hey, Morgan, this doesn't work," and I'm like, "You sent 2 videos. How could you how could you say that doesn't work?" So I think a lot of people will stop it to say something, right, and say, this is dead, versus how do I evolve and get better at it, and then say, okay, this legitimately didn't work for me. And I think that's just the society that we're in right now. People just say, oh, this didn't work because I did it like 5 times, which is like not the best way to go about it.
100%.
All right, I think we have someone coming in here right now.
Yes, yes. Say
Sahad,
Hassan. Yes,
how you
Sayed, yes.
say it? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So I just want to understand, how do you start a cold call to IT leadership? Like, you are selling, I mean, technology sales. I mean, you're selling software, embedded technology, IoT kind of things. How do you do that?
Do you have a
I just
script or a framework already?
Yeah, I have. I just Let's say, hi Sean. This is Manzar from Cam.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Before you go
Okay.
into that, so what we're gonna do is, if you
Yeah.
already have something, we can answer your question on how you can be better by
Yes.
going through your script. And so one of us will be the prospect here. So before one of us are the prospect, before you go into
Hmm.
that, could you tell
Hmm.
us just a little bit more, like the personas, typically who you call, and then one of us will be the prospect, and then we can give you appropriate feedback.
Perfect, Morgan. So we normally call to CIO, CTO,
Okay.
and CEO, VP IT, Director IT, and mm, this sort of guys, and C-level uh, guys
And
normally.
what's your product or service, Said?
Products, IoT, digital technology, digital transformation, and more AI, ML kind of things.
Sounds
Awesome.
like you, David. No, I'm just kidding.
You've
Yes.
been
I,
writing notes, Morgan. I've seen you writing notes.
I got it. I got it. All right. Whenever you're ready to make the call to me, just say ring ring and then
Mhm.
go in your introduction, and then
Yes.
we can go from there. So just tell me whenever you want to go, ring, and then we'll go into it.
Okay. Hi, Morgan. This is Manzar from Cambridge Engineering, and this call is about IoT, AI, ML, and digital transformation. Would you like to have a short introduction with our president next week, 9 or 10 a.m. CST, or
Yeah.
your time?
What is this again?
This call is about IoT and AI, ML on digital transformation.
Okay.
Yeah. So, would you be interested in having a discussion with our president next week?
I don't know exactly how can you help me? I'm a little confused. I have a meeting here in the next 30 seconds, so maybe you should send me an email. I'm not sure.
Cambridge Engineering is a fast, and Cambridge Engineering is the uh, right platform to introduce IoT technology to your company, to to establish, to start a bit, to make a you can utilize the IoT, AI, ML in digital transformation of your company. So you can cut down production, cut down the downtime, you cut down uh, the cost cutting kind of things, and you can shift from traditional to a digital transformation.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would say yeah, probably just send me an email, and I'll just send it to one of the people on my team, and we'll see if maybe this is useful
Could
us
you please
maybe in the next
confirm?
months.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm
Could
just
you please confirm
Morgan.
your email address?
I'm
Official.
just Morgan at kellogg's.com.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. So I will right away send you an email detailing about the company, services it's offering, and all the things details. So when can I have a follow up with you, or will you respond either today or
Yeah,
tomorrow?
I'll just respond via email. Look, I gotta run here into a meeting, so just send me the email and I'll follow up accordingly.
Thank you very much. That's all I wanted today. Thank you very much, Morgan.
All right. Cool. Well, first of all, you came in first, so we'll give you a round of applause because it's not easy to do this in front of everyone. So we'll do that.
Yes.
So So here's the thing is
Yes.
well, hey, I was trying to yes, obviously probably would have been less patient, but we got to run it as a scenario. But David, what's your feedback?
Yeah. So thanks so much, Saeed. It's
Yes.
always
Thank
difficult
you.
being the first. I think the first thing that I would say is your in. So the way that you introduce is you basically immediately ask for the meeting,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just interested. What percentage of people say yes when you do that?
One 1%.
1%. Okay, cool. All right.
Yes. Like
So
look,
so
let me give me numerical figures. Like if I make 500 calls to 1,000 calls, let's say two or three guys, four guys say yes.
okay, cool. So
To
let's
be
up that.
honest with you. Yeah.
So I think we can up that number.
Yeah.
All right. Roughly, I'm aiming for if the
Mhm.
best SDRs I see are getting about 20% of connects, turning them into a meeting. And I
Mhm.
think the first thing that you need to do
Mhm.
is
Hold on. Let me write it down.
stop. This will be recorded, say. So if you don't catch anything, it'll be recorded. You can definitely play it back. But
Yes.
stop immediately asking for the meeting. I generally don't like that very much. I know some people actually do it, but
Mhm.
the first thing that you want to do is you want to
Mhm.
understand, you want to try and understand the pains, the challenges, and the goals of the prospect, because it's so unlikely that they're ever gonna book a meeting if we're not fixing some of that. Now, I don't know your product or service well enough to understand what those challenges are, but I'm sure that your team, or I hope that your company and yourself, from having conversations, there are certain situations where people are more likely to say yes. And what you need to be thinking about is the way that I would advise opening up the conversation is by
Mhm.
essentially highlighting some of the challenges that your product or service fixes, right? Present that first and foremost, and then uh, as a way of kind of then diving into your product. So let me give you an example. Here at Cognism, a lot of the team are starting with a very simple hook. Um, Hi, Saeed.
Mhm.
I speak to a number of sales leaders every day who are telling me that their sales team
Mhm.
aren't having enough conversations with decision
Mhm.
makers in their ICP, right? And then what they're hoping
Mhm.
for, hopefully, the prospect goes,
Mhm.
yeah, actually, like we're feeling similar about that. And then once they say that, then
Mhm.
we're presenting Cognism as the solution, right?
Okay.
Um,
Correct.
if they say no, then we continue like having conversations about how they're currently going about calling, how they're currently going about generating conversation. But until we get our first aim is to get a pain, challenge, or goal, and until we
Mhm.
have that, we're not going to pitch our product. Okay,
Correct.
so I
Correct.
think then my advice is like a bit of a restructuring of your pitch overall, and to start because once you're in conversations, it's really important that you're not burning it.
Mhm.
And the way that I would start is by listing what this is literally what I do is I would write down all the pains, challenges, and goals that your service fixes, right? Like what different things does your service help with, help your prospects with, and then I would start every conversation by trying to have a conversation around those different points. Um, so yeah, so that would be my process. Morgan, is that anything from your side?
Yes.
You pretty much nailed everything that I was going to say across the board. I don't really want to add anything to anything that you
Mhm.
said. The one and the not to what you said. The one thing I will say is just what you said when David asked you that question. Hey, like 1%. Just be mindful of not just going through the motions and really taking a step and analyzing, is what I'm saying even correlating? And I've been there myself. It's like, okay, cool. I have this thing that I say as an intro, and sometimes it works, but maybe I could be more effective. And it's okay to take a step back and be like, you know what, this doesn't isn't really working. Maybe I should try something different, right? And that's why you came on here today, and we appreciate you doing that. But take that mindset, even as you take David's advice, to be like, is this even working for me? Because I will say, like, the
Right.
majority
Right.
of people that are maybe in here listening, if you lead with the meeting, like the chances of you converting that is extremely low, just like you even said. it really only works if you're doing a transactional sell, and I think most people in here are probably not doing that. So that's my only thing. But I appreciate you coming on, and again, hopefully this advice was helpful.
Thanks so much, Saeed.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
You're
Awesome.
welcome. You're welcome. All right,
Hard to
y'all.
be the first day, Morgan.
And no, it is hard to be the first one. So we'll get Syed out of here real quick, and then if anyone has any additional questions, you want to throw it in the text Q&A, we can definitely do that. We have some questions in the chat. I want to like.
I'm gonna have to jump in on this question hard, Morgan.
I already see which one you're gonna go.
Raymond Tian Chami. I hope I haven't butchered your name, but the only database you should be coming to is for contact data for mobile phones, emails, is Cognism. And I hope that there's lots of our happy customers that are on this webinar and tuning in. That should be your best call. So cognism.com, jump on. Sorry for an absolute advertisement for all of our listeners. I know you've not come here just for an advertisement, but it's too easy a setup.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to do it.
It's part of it, right? So the follow-up question was here. I think you answered this. So first step is to ask them to confirm or deny your research.
I think what he's referring to is how like we lead with a typical pain that our ICP faces that we solve as an organization. Now it's going to depend product to product, but what we're really aiming for, what we're really aiming for is to lead with a pain that pretty much every single one of our ICP faces, right? And it's very, very rare that we have we ever meet a sales leader or speak to a sales leader who doesn't want their team to be in more conversations with their ICP, right? Like who would say no to that? So it's a cleverly worded message to open up the conversation. And really it's a hook statement, right? Your introduction should always be something that the aim of it is actually just to keep them on the phone. It's not necessary to get the meeting then and there. It's to just keep them on the phone. So we lead with that. We say, hey, look, this is a typical pain that we see. And then once they confirm or deny it, it's then about opening up a broader conversation around, for us, it'd be like what contact data provider they're using. If it was Saeed, it might be, are they currently using an IoT provider? I really don't know anything about IoT, so I'm going to butcher this if I try and go any further, right? But it should be, you'll all have an understanding of your products or service, and you just want to open up the conversation with lots of open-ended questions around the process that you're looking to supplement for them.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to bring in Rachel. Rachel, what's going on?
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Yes, I'm not going to lie. This is quite nerve-wracking, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you're here. So
it's nerve-wracking for me as well, Rachel. Don't you worry. Look, we've got Morgan in the house. Who else? Don't you worry.
Don't do
I have to give him hype every single time. I gotta reassure him that everything's gonna be okay. So it's all good. But Rachel, tell us, who are you talking to on a daily basis from the buyer personas? What are you currently doing right now? And then we'll go into a mock scenario.
So the tool we are is Martech. So I'm speaking with CMOs, VP of marketing, digital marketing, head of demand generation. So very much focused on marketers that care about acquisition. So I'm in a unique role where I'm kind of like a bit of combined MDR and SDR. So sometimes I struggle with the outbound because I'll just go off on a tangent, or I think sometimes I focus too much on rapport building.
Got it.
Okay.
What's I suppose what problem are you solving with your solution?
The issue is that like websites just aren't relevant now to the visitor anymore. So what we are doing is basically showing the most relevant information to businesses as and when they're going on websites.
Got it. Website customization. What's the name of the company?
Webio. You should know us.
Yeah,
we're a sister company to Lead Forensics. So yeah.
Got it. Got it. Awesome. All right. Shall I take this one, Morgan?
Yeah, you can take it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right. Rachel, when you're ready, do you want to give us a ring?
Yeah. Cool. Hi, I'm mindful that we haven't spoken before. My name is Rachel from Webio. How's your day going?
Day's not going too bad. How's yours?
It's not too bad. The weather is awful, but there we go. I live in the UK. What can we expect?
Fair enough.
But actually, the real reason that I was calling you is I'd love to be able to speak to you about your conversion rate on your website, and being able to use website personalization to increase it and increase the leads coming onto your website. Is that something that you're exploring at the moment?
Not something we're actively exploring, but obviously, conversion is important.
Of course, yes. I know something that I saw with Cognism is that you work with lots of different industries and lots of different types of personas, and it can be very difficult at times for people to be able to see the right information at the right times. So what we'd be able to do is, as and when your prospects are coming onto the website, they're seeing the most relevant information at the right time. So then that way you can keep them on. We all know that the website conversion, there's so many different elements, things like bounce rate, time spent on site, different pages viewed, and just being able to get all those puzzle pieces together will increase not just the quantity of leads, but also the quality, so much more from your ideal customer profile.
Okay, I actually, so I'm not super close to this. We have a website manager that's super close to this, though. But from what I know, I think we're using a platform very similar to you already.
Okay. Do you know what you're using at all?
I really don't. As I say, I'm not super close to it.
Okay, no, not a problem. Well, what we can do, we can certainly kind of show you in a little bit more detail about what we can do, and we can also bring your website manager along. I think what would be really valuable at the moment is being able to understand what marketing strategies you're currently using at the moment, just to see whether it's something that we can fit in with.
What we're running SEO, PPC. Is that what you mean? Like all of the
Yeah,
standard like email marketing, all of your standard
okay.
marketing campaigns.
Perfect. You actually remind me of one of our current clients. Acumatica, their issue was that they're spending a lot of money on PPC. It costs a lot of money to get onto the website, but businesses aren't able to see the right information that they're looking for bouncing off, and then you've just wasted the money for them coming onto your website. So yeah, just being able, whilst you may not be dealing with the website generally, something like this actually might be really valuable also from like your actual marketing campaigns, so being able to link them in.
Got it.
So yeah, if that's going to be something valuable, it'd be great to be able to get on an initial call, just be able to show you what the tool looks like. Obviously, feel free to bring in your website manager, just so that you can see the tool, and we can go from there.
Sure. Yeah, that's something that we can do.
That sounds perfect. So just from looking at calendars, I'm mindful it's like nearly 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so today isn't going to be great. But we do have some time at 10 o'clock tomorrow, if that works for your calendar.
Yeah, that works.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do my side, I'm going to send over an invite to you shortly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pair you with my colleague, Jean. He's brilliant at being able to give you that industry-based personalization and also that PPC style personalization as well. So I think he'll be a really good fit for you. So on my side, I'll also send notes, so then our demo's personalized, because it'll be really awkward if it wasn't. So yes, is there anything else that you need from me?
No, good. See you tomorrow. Thanks so much,
Perfect.
Rachel.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Really great job.
Good
Fantastic
job.
job, Rachel. Awesome.
Okay. All right. I'll go first. So I love your pace and tone. It makes the person on the receiving end, and David can speak for himself, I'm not going to speak for him, but like my perspective is that it probably made him feel very comfortable and at ease to give you feedback and the way that you paced it. The biggest thing when it comes to cold calling is your pace and your tone. Do you feel like this is a friend that's calling me? Do I feel relatable? And I think you cover that extremely well. And you were like nudging, but you weren't aggressively pushing towards things. And I think you did a great job there. The one thing, my suggestion to keep this feedback concise is when you finish, when you're doing, you're like, when you finish statements, you want to be able to guide and lead the prospect to the next thing. So you'll finish a statement and then you just leave it there. So that's where the prospect then has the ball to do whatever they want. So sometimes I had calls where like just don't say anything. And it's awkward because you didn't ask them a question. So they're just like, and you're like,
they're waiting for you. Yeah.
They're waiting for you, right? So you want to be a lead, you want to be the leader there and ask them a question to drive something. And that is like my main core feedback, because you're saying a lot of great things. But if you're able to have that question, oh my God, that comment's ridiculous. Do you see that comment, David?
Yeah, I've seen it.
That's ridiculous. But if you have a question that can lead them to the next thing, that will be immensely impactful. And I think, someone mentioned the chat. I was thinking this as well, but you did it, looping that other person in. But I think you did a great job to wrap it up. So that's my feedback. Well done.
Awesome. Yeah. Rachel, I think you're a fantastic cold caller. So if you feel like it's, you're not, then I really don't think you should worry. The one piece of feedback that, so for me, your introduction was fantastic. I was, like exactly what I needed. Pace and tone was great. There was a moment in that pitch. So you started pitching about the fact that Cognism has multiple personas that we're going after, so it's really hard to customize the website, right? To the right person. And at that moment, I was like, oh yeah, right. And honestly, at that moment, you had me 100% had me. You didn't need to say anything else. I would have taken the meeting, right? And I think that sometimes and this is a guess based on what I just heard there, but I think you and this happens all the time, I've seen it a million times with SDRs, is the hardest part about our job is the moment where we actually have to ask them whether they want to take a meeting, right? That's the point where we're like, that's the really make or break moment. I never cared as an SDR if someone cut me down immediately. I cared way more that when I asked that question, they say yes, right? It's the high pressures that was where we make the money. But sometimes what that fear manifests itself in is just not asking, and just like talking. And actually, if I'm completely honest, you did that initial pitch, which was great. I think it was a little long. I think you could have said the customization piece and just left it there. You basically cut that in half. And then afterwards, you started asking me about campaigns. And then what you said, the pitch that you gave after about the campaigns was basically you repeating the bit before. Right. So I didn't actually, and this is me being hypercritical, by the way, Rachel, you did a great job.
Yep.
But like essentially like if you'd asked the question around the demo at that halfway through that first pitch, I probably would have said yes, to be honest with you. And it's and worst case scenario, I would have given you some kind of objection. One thing that I train, and this is for everybody, one thing I train my team a lot on is buying signals. And over the phone, because for the best part, the majority of us are just selling a meeting, a 15-minute, 30-minute meeting. It's a very small commitment that we're asking people for. So really the buy-in only has to be very small. So if you're speaking to someone and they do one of these things, they say yes, or they agree with you, right, in any capacity, that's a buying signal. Ask them for a demo. Right, as soon as they do that, as early or late as it is, asking for a demo. Second thing is that if they ask any questions around the product, then also ask them for a demo. And then the final thing is just really, if they don't say no, I'm going to ask them for a demo. Right, like people will tell you if they're not happy about it. So really, really look for those buying signals. But really great job, Rachel. Honestly, you did awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great job, Rachel. So we're going to go to our favorite person. David, you know who's here. Is our favorite person
We can't
here.
have favorite
Joe,
people.
you're literally getting the strobe lights. Joe gets the strobe lights. He's back. Joe is back. The legend of the show. I mean, he's back again. So you get the strobe light. You get the strobe light intro. But what's going on, man? How's it going?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Great to see you again. Yeah, things are going, particularly well, to be fair. You asked for some things to celebrate. My team has just brought on our 100th brand new business since I started 15 months ago and started building out the outbound sales team. Ran some numbers this morning following that. We're converting at just over 65% proposal to successful client onboarded, which, to be honest, if you'd offered me that when I started here, I think if you'd offered it, the directors, they would have snapped your hand off. So that's really nice. But ultimately, the reason I'm on here today, and the most important things, I've had 4 more new starters. And what's really amazing, they've all just hit the phones, great attitude. They've only been on the phone a couple of days. Every single one of them's already started generating leads. A couple of them have already got appointments booked for next week. So, what more could you ask for as a manager?
Amazing.
Good job, man.
Joe, we were joking before this that we think we're becoming your personal sales enablement team, so we might have to start charging you, by the way. But we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I am giving back to you. I'll give you a case study. I said I'd be a sales reference customer.
No, we absolutely love having you here.
And I definitely did secure at least one deal for you. There was a client of ours that said they were looking at you and Zoom Info, and they were leaning towards Zoom Info, and they ended up buying Cognism purely on my recommendation.
Joe the
what
case
a guy.
study. You gotta love Joe. All right, Joe. What are we talking about today?
So, want to switch it up to show to the new guys that we can effectively pitch to anyone. So, obviously, make sure they're going to care about one of the services that we offer. You've got a rough idea what we do: ISO pen testing, cybersecurity, incident response, that sort of thing. You tell me the persona, and I'll just go.
Any persona?
Yeah, well, obviously that we would don't say I'm the milkman.
Any persona. Yeah, I'm an NBA player. Call me. Like what?
Yeah. But within anything you could conceivably think, we might engage with that client, and I'll happily go and see how, show to the new guys.
Joe is feeling it today, David. He's feeling it today.
This is bold. Morgan, I think you should be yourself. Are you doing your pen testing? I feel like you need some pen testing.
You want me to?
Can you convince the Morgan Ingram, to get some pen testing? How are you feeling?
Yeah. Okay, we'll go.
All right, let's do it. I'll be me.
Okay. Ring.
Hello.
Hi, Morgan. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Okay. Cool, Morgan. It's just Joe from Avalion here. I sent you over an email relating to pen testing earlier this week. Did you pick that up?
I did not.
No worries. I appreciate you probably get a tremendous amount of emails and outreaches, particularly someone with your persona and your social media presence. The reason I engage with you, Morgan, we're seeing more and more people doing similar things involved in sales consultancies, particularly supporting the tech industry, having this ongoing demand to have penetration testing done. Sorry, there's an ambulance goes past the window. So, the reason I reached out to you, appreciate this is probably something that wasn't even on your radar maybe 12, 18 months ago. But because of this supply chain risk management, the ongoing due diligence of the people they work with, and obviously the data you hold for all of your clients, this requirement's becoming bigger and bigger for you. So I just wanted to reach out now, but really set up a meeting where we can discuss that in a bit more detail about how we can support you and make sure we satisfy all those demands for your clients.
Yeah. So how do you do this differently than other people?
So what I can say is obviously there are industry standards that everyone has to work to, and we're CREST accredited, and that's going to be the burden that I'd imagine most of your clients work through. I've seen some of the businesses you work through. I know that they would want to make sure any pen testing you get done is from a CREST accredited pen tester, and we are also that. They'll probably want to know as well that the companies you're working with from a security point of view have got ISO 27001, 9001, Cyber Essentials, those sort of bits and pieces. And we've got all of them as well. But what really sets us apart isn't those just box ticking things. It's about the holistic approach we take to pen testing. We don't just run, do the testing, run you the report, shake your hand and wish you good luck. We'll support you through the implementation of that remediation that comes from the vulnerabilities we discover. We'll make sure you understand them and you're able to implement that remediation advice we give. And then finally, to really satisfy those client demands, no additional charge, will retest all the vulnerabilities once you have remediated them to make sure you've actually plugged those holes. So not only can you show to your clients that you've had a CREST accredited pen test, you've also had a CREST accredited pen test that's give you a clean bill of health. I mean, what more is going to give confidence to your clients in your security than that?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds intriguing, but like you said, this isn't really on my radar right now. There's other more important things that I need to do. So maybe reach out to me in like 6 months.
No, I appreciate, it might not be at the top of your list, and I'm not expecting you, to spend hours in this. But obviously, it's a steady process to go through that. There's a lot of things we need to go through, and our lead time, even if you said you needed a pen test right now, our lead time's 6 weeks. So I think what the best thing is, if we have an introductory meeting so I can understand a bit more of the scope of what's involved with you, give you a bit more detail on how we can support you, at least that will speed up the process at and when the point is that you need to do that pen testing. Because the last thing I want to say to you, Morgan, is you get a client who says, I need your pen test report now. You give me a call and go, Joe, I'm ready to go ahead, but I need it tomorrow. And I have to turn around to you and go, sorry, it's going to take 6 weeks. And that's not just a problem for us. Any pen tester offering the level of service we will have that sort of lead time. So appreciate you're busy, but I've got some time free Tuesday and Wednesday. What are your diaries looking like that day?
As I said, I'm pretty slammed, and I think maybe this might be something better for my admin to look at as I'm doing other things right now.
Okay, I appreciate, you might pass that down, but to be honest, with something that is this important, I recommend that, you don't need to take responsibility throughout the whole process, but particularly at this initial point and looking at scoping, that you handle these, because I really need to make sure that we align everything specifically to your risk exposure and what you're looking for. The last thing I want is sitting with your admin. We go through everything. We end up over scoping this, and I have to overcharge you because I'm doing more testing than's proportional to your requirements. So to be honest, I think it's best you and I have a call around this.
Yeah, I think, no one wants to be overcharged. I think, look, let's just do this. Send me an invite for 2 weeks, Tuesday, like the first Tuesday of the month, and at like 2 p.m. Eastern, and I can hop on a call.
Is it so Tuesday afternoons are usually good for you then?
Yeah, typically it's good for me.
Okay, well, I'll be honest, I'm going to be in Costa Rica that day. So what we'll do, if I send it through for Tuesday next week, since you're typically free at that time, and then we can have a deeper conversation Tuesday at 2. And, if it's not for you and it's not the right time, we can both shake hands and still share friends, and I'll still keep your LinkedIn connection, still share your content, and you've lost nothing.
Yeah, like I said, next week is way too busy. So, if you're in Costa Rica, you want to take a call, that's great, or the following week. But I'm too busy next week to take that call.
No, unfortunately, it will cost me one wife if I take that call in Costa Rica.
we don't want that. We don't want that.
Okay, appreciate, you're busy next week. We'll set it up for the following week, Tuesday at 2, and we'll take things forward from there.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Cheers. Have a great afternoon.
So the reason I threw that many objections, someone said, "How do you handle objections?" So Joe actually handled them very well. Like, you framed me on the Costa Rica. That was good. I don't know if you caught that. It was a perfect way of framing. Like, yeah, I'm already in Costa Rica, so we'll see next week. That was a really good job of framing. But I'll let David go on the feedback. But hopefully y'all caught that one, because that's something that a lot of y'all could definitely use.
Yeah, Joe, that was fantastic as always. And I hope that, as always, it must be so good for your team to see like you leading for the front in terms of asking for feedback and advice, because I'm sure that's exactly what you'd want them to do for you. I want to pick up on two. There's so much that you could unpack on this things, but I'm going to talk about two things. Firstly, one that's come through in the comments a lot is around this "how are you?" and asking like how you are at the start of the call. I've definitely spoken about this before, so I apologize.
We disagree on this part.
Well, yeah, basically it's the one that me and Morgan disagree on, right? So I'm just going to say my piece. I'll say it really quickly because I've been through it a million times. I always used to say, "How are you?" The reason to say "How are you" is because on a very small amount of occasions, but sometimes people will say, "How are you back?" And when people say, "How are you back?" It it gives me an opportunity to humanize myself. And actually, if I go back to Rachel did that in the last call. She mentioned the fact that it was raining and it was miserable weather in England, made me laugh, and is a really good way of getting into the conversation. So that's my personal preference. If anybody's wondering my take, Morgan's going to give you a whole different one, but that is my take on the how are yous. The one thing that I want to point out to everybody is how Joe handled the objection of, which is a really common objection, is of I don't think this is a priority right now for us. Joe essentially taught about a very real life situation that Morgan could be in that could make this an urgent priority for him today. And it was magnificent. Maybe Morgan wasn't aware of the problems that could be created by not doing it today. And so when that's an objection that everybody should be prepping for and understanding, like, how can we frame this so that way it becomes a priority, which I think Joe did so well. So really take my hat off to you, Joe, as always. You did a really great job.
Joe, you getting hype in there, or is that David? That's you. You're
It's not me.
Like Joe is fired up. All right, so yeah, I love this call. I really like what David said. I want to talk about this a little bit more. I obviously was not feeling it. I was very hesitant, but you brought like, hey, look, if someone comes to you, we're not going to be able to help you, and it's going to take 6 weeks. So we need to start this conversation now. I really like that positioning because I said 6 months, but you're like, yeah, we actually need to start like pretty immediately because you're going to probably get this with the clients that you're working with. And I thought that was a really great breakdown and made a ton of sense across the board on like why you did it that way. I thought that was great. I also liked how you continuously handled the objections and were able to like acknowledge, oh yeah, admin would be great, but here's what it would cost you, or here's what's going to happen, leading in or not lead. Well, basically saying the overcharge piece, right? I'm going to be like, all right, I obviously got to get on this call because I don't want to pay more money than I already have to. So I like that as well. I think one additional piece that would have been, maybe one additional question you could have asked there is like, what has your process been so far to do this, right? You could have been like, oh, you know what, like, I haven't done this at all. And then you could have like maybe pressed more, but that's being nitpicky. Yeah. I think overall this was like a really good call though, and you did a good job.
Amazing.
Cool.
Great job.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the feedback as always.
You can truly pitch to anyone, Joe. It's official.
Yeah, I know. I love it. All right, Joe, appreciate you. All right, we have a good amount of people, so we're gonna keep going. We may not to get everybody here, but we're gonna try. So next we have Marvin. Let's see if we can get
Hey
okay,
guys.
Marvin, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. So you've seen the calls previously, so you just tell us what your persona is, tell us how you're calling people, and then David will be the prospect here.
Persona is like information security manager, is basically anybody within the information security side of things or like threat intelligence side of things. And the product is a tailored threat intelligence platform. So
threat intelligent platform.
Yeah. So
monitoring,
dark web monitoring.
So it's monitoring for any threats that could come in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Not my massive area of expertise, Marvin, but I'll do my absolute best today. Actually, Marvin, one question is for your prospect, are they more likely to have a current provider or not have a current provider?
It depends. This is more of like an add-on to the already like the security they have. So it's
got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Cool. All right. I'm gonna probably make up some names of some information security products that don't exist for the purpose of this. All right.
All right.
Okay. Cool. Do you want to give us a ring?
Yeah. Ring.
Hello, Dave speaking.
Hello, David. Thank you so much for taking the call. I do appreciate it. My name is Marvin. I'm calling from a company called Securio. Did I catch you at a good time?
I've got I'm running into a meeting in a second, but you've got me for 10.
Fantastic. I appreciate you probably get a lot of these calls, so I'll try and get straight to the point. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So, David, the reason for the call, I'm sure, like, you understand that most companies spend a lot of their revenue or a lot of their budget trying to secure their network, making sure the data doesn't leave the network. But, inevitably these, breaches still happen. You agree?
Yeah. We've been fortunate so far, but it can.
Fantastic. So, David, I just wanted to understand real quick, like, are you taking any step in a case where, you were to be unfortunate? Are you taking any steps to, like, minimize the impact of these breaches?
Yeah, so we've invested in a few different softwares, and we've got a team a dedicated team looking at it, in case of any breaches.
I see. I understand. Yeah, a lot of companies do have, teams in place that, go and look for, potential breaches or look for the data on the dark web. However, if they're doing that manually, then there's a potential for some data to be missed or some breaches to be missed. And now, what we do at Scurry here is, like, we try to automate all of this. Could I ask, like, if at the moment, like, do you have maybe any of the solutions that you're talking about? Are there any of them just, like, monitoring the dark web for, like, let's say, for example, if your email address was to appear on a dark web forum, would you be able to get an alert of that?
No, yeah, that's really, as I would say, we've got, like, one employee that does, like, regular checks or kind of keeps a rough eye on it amongst other things that they're doing, but we don't have any dedicated software for that.
I see. Well, I guess with the one employee, most of that time would be spent just looking for the data rather than investigating, where the breach came from in the first place. But if you are to, say, bring on a solution that would automate the looking of the data, then your employee could focus on actually, investigating exactly where the breach came from or initiated in the first place. Would you think that would be something that would be valuable to you?
Sure, potentially. As I said at the start of the call, I've really got to jump into this meeting. But I get where you're coming from.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate, time is valuable. So what I can do is let's throw together a quick meeting next week, so I can bring in someone from our team that can explain in more detail how this could work, and then we'll see whether how we can go from there.
Sure. Well, I mean, to be honest, I'm heading. Yeah, I don't know whether I've got the time next week. Can I send the guy that is looking at the looks at this process specifically to this meeting?
Certainly. I mean, you could share his email with myself, and then I can put together a meeting with him, and then ideally we want to speak to the person that's going to be realizing the value from this product.
Okay, so his email's Morgan at Kellogg's.com.
Nice. So if I send a quick email to Morgan, and would you mind if I copied you in so that he knows that it's something that you're passing down to him?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Oh, wonderful. Well, just for my own notes here, what's the best email for you?
Just David at Kellogg's.com.
Perfect. Well, I'll go ahead and send over a quick email and an invite as well for sometime next week. How does Tuesday or Thursday work for you?
Tuesday works fine. Thanks very much, Marvin.
Yeah. Cheers.
Awesome. Great job.
All right.
Really great job.
Good stuff. All right. So
I'm interested in what the chat thinks, Morgan. I want to get more comments in the chat from the chat. Like, I'm sure, like, we have a certain lens on it, myself and Morgan, but I'd love to see what the chat thinks.
Chat, let us know what you felt about the call. Give us your take and let us know what's going on. We appreciate it across the board. So we see David. Shout out to David always being a day one here as part of the show. Appreciate you. Everyone else wants to throw in what their perspective was, throw it in the chat as well. So I'll go into it. I like to just keep things 1-on-1. So one thing that was really well, one thing that to dive into. So I think I know one of the things that you do really well is that you have a really good flow, and so you're able to really, you don't sound like you're going through a robotic motion like a lot of people do. You're just like, all right, here's the way that I'm going to deliver this. You even did a good job nudging at the end and try to figure it out, because some people just leave that email at the end. So I think that was really well. What I would say is this is what I believe is one of the most important parts of the call, which is the introduction. Everyone thinks it differently. It is what it is. But what I would say is that your intro, there's a lot going on, and you do like a double permission-based opener, which I typically recommend people to never do. So you said like, hey, is this a good time? Which I always tell people to never say that, because I've never had a prospect be like, you know what? Whoa, this is the best time in the world, right? That's typically never going to happen. So you stating that puts them in the state where they're going to be like, yeah, like this isn't like what? And then you asked, hey, like, is this like still good for you? Like I know you're busy. And then you asked again. So he's already massively hesitant, massive restrictive. So I would just find a way to figure out which one do you want to lead with? Do you want to lead with good time? Do you want to lead with, hey, do you have a couple of minutes? Like whatever it is, pick that one, and then you could go into your introduction and go into your value prop across the board. So that would be my personal recommendation. I think everything else, you had your value prop, you asked some questions along the way. I know David probably has additional feedback, but I really wanted to talk about the introduction because that's where you typically could lose people. You wouldn't even get to the rest of the conversation. So just finding what that one introduction is for you, so then you can get to the meat of what you're talking about.
Cool. Thank you.
Hey, we can see Marvin. We can see you now.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, man.
I was making it.
It's good to see you. Yeah, I think so. I picked up on that straight away as well. The fact that you asked permission twice. I totally agree. I think like you clearly know your product, which is really good, and you know how to like to navigate conversation. I'm going to pick up on something that you did at the end because I think it's really important that people hear it, because they people miss this a lot. When I said, there's someone else that I think is dedicated to this that could help it, you did exactly the right thing immediately asking for their email. A lot of people rely on the person they're speaking to give them the introduction. And as we know, prospects can be very flaky, or they can forget things. Like sometimes they intend to do what you're asking them to do, but they just forget, right? In the busy days. And as salespeople, we really want to control the conversation. So asking for the email was perfect. I would have, I would assume that the prospect, that myself in this case, was more senior than this individual that you were going to push it to. So at the same time, we do want the manager to be in that conversation as well. So one thing that you might want to start doing that's been really effective for us is basically saying, by the way, like. Usually when we speak to companies, there's lots of individuals that will be part of the process for something like this. Was just wondering whether like whether you would be in it at a later date, or like what typically you see as the process here. Ideally that's just giving you a few names, because the one disadvantage with the call that just happened is it sounds like you're getting someone quite junior in the business, and so you like minimum from the person that you're speaking to, you want to kind of get like information on like what that buying decision looks like, who would be part of that buying decision as well, and then ideally you're even looping them in, because they might say actually I don't know, again I don't know your persona, but say the CTO, right? Say your prospect says the CTO would actually be really important in this as well. You could say, okay, and what's do you mind me asking what their name is? You can then look them up on LinkedIn, and then you can bounce off of the meeting that you're booking with the junior person and say, hey, look, I've got this meeting. It's all about this. Like, like, are you open to joining as well, to the CTO themselves? So just make sure that you're maximizing. I'm a big believer in maximizing every conversation you have, right? I think that the hardest thing that we do is actually getting people onto the phone. Once we've got them onto the phone, we need to maximize every conversation. But overall, Marvin, you did an absolutely fantastic job. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So we have, I had to sneeze. All right. So thank you. It's like, hold on one second. All right. So we have about 5 minutes left, but Dave, you see our boy Matt really wants to get in here.
I know, I'm seeing it.
He really wants to get in here. So the thing is, like, we have 5 minutes left. So I don't know. We got to, Tim, we got to
fire in.
Should we rapid fire him in? Tim, we got it's Tim's final say. Tim let him in. Tim let
We're
him in.
rapid
All right,
fire
so,
in. Okay.
yeah. Here we go. Here we go.
I'll be quick, guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
good.
So persona you pitch to, product, and then Morgan will be able to do the role play.
Sure. So I'll preface it by saying I've been in the company for about a month. It is a warehouse management software, a SaaS company, of course. So we help with provide data and intelligence to warehouses to help increase production, inventory accuracy, efficiency, all four walls of the warehouse, if you will. But my job as a SDR is to pretty much book an FME or first meeting ever, similar to a demo, if you will, but a 15-minute conversation with our sales professional. Very similar to different organizations.
This is the first time, David, I don't know about you, I've never heard FME before. This is the first time I've ever heard this acronym.
Me too,
do you know what? We also do first meetings ever, and
Really?
for our
Okay.
SDRs,
This
and
is
I've
new.
never, but no, I've never used that acronym. It's
Yeah.
genius. So
Never heard
I'm like,
FME
yeah.
before. This is a brand new thing for me.
I can't take responsibility for that. That'd be my boss. He's listening in right now.
Well, yeah, that's cool. So I'm basically just I'm an operating manager, warehouse manager.
Usually you're going to be the president or the CEO. The warehouse manager won't have the final say on it.
Okay.
And it'll be someone in the C level.
Okay, and then essentially you're just like, this is just like the management of like the inventory, things of that nature. I'm assuming that's what you're managing on that end. Like what exactly?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the software pretty much helps on all aspects of their warehouse,
Okay.
production wise, efficiency wise. Just a bunch of data that's going to help them.
Cool. All right, I'm good.
Awesome. Ring.
It's Morgan.
Hey, Morgan. Good morning. Happy Thursday to you, my friend.
Happy Thursday to you as well.
I know it's not as great as saying Happy Friday, but one more day left, I suppose.
Yeah. One more day, so we're all good.
Appreciate you coming to the phone, Morgan. This is Matthew from Royal 4. We haven't had the pleasure of speaking before, but I just hope I didn't catch you at a super terrible time, my friend.
I am in the middle of something. There's a lot going on in the warehouse, but I only got like maybe a couple minutes here. But what how can I help?
That's awesome. I just asked for a couple minutes, and if I go past that, I'll hang up myself. Is that fair?
That's fair. Now you're on a timer.
I was just about to say timer's on, I suppose. So, in essence, we're a warehouse management software. You might be familiar with us, Morgan. I know I sent out a few emails, but I'm quite sure you guys currently have a few tools in place now to help with your warehousing side of things. My hope is not necessarily to have you guys switch on board by the end of this call. Just seeing if there's any opportunity where we can at least have a conversation, if it's fair with you and your schedule, of course, just to overview what we're all about and how we can help you guys down the road.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple tools that we're using, and they seem to do the job pretty well. So I think we're set right now.
I appreciate the honesty. What are you guys using, if you don't mind me asking, Morgan?
And by the way, I'm gonna make these tools up so you can. Yeah, we're using like Switchboard to really track our inventory, and we're using Carrier to see where our packages are going and making sure they're getting delivered.
Are you guys getting 99% inventory accuracy, Morgan?
That's a great question. I would have to ask someone on my team. Last time we reported, we were right at the 90%. So I see that as pretty good. So I really didn't see any switches that we needed to make.
If we can get you from good to being almost perfect at 99%, it's going to save you thousands every month. I mean, would you feel like it'd be a super crazy idea just to have a 15-minute conversation and see how we can help you guys for future reference? And again, I don't ask for any commitments, just for you to hear us what we're all about and how we can help you guys.
I don't think it'd be crazy, but 99% is a pretty aggressive claim. I mean, typically only hand sanitizer can really say that. So can you give me some like case studies here on like how you're doing that?
I can definitely send you a few case studies, more than one actually, that kind of attest to how we have accomplished that and some success stories as well. Can I steal your email? Is it mingram@aol.com?
That is correct.
Awesome. Would it be fair, Morgan, if I shoot over a calendar invite, let's say for Monday afternoon I have some time at 2 p.m. Does that work for you?
Yeah, 2 p.m.'s not going to work, but if you could squeeze 4, we could possibly do that.
Awesome. Let me double check my calendar right here. Yep, 4 p.m. Eastern time, correct?
That is correct.
Awesome. I'll shoot you that invite now. Just to make sure I don't have any issues, Can you make sure you get that as soon as I send it over?
Yeah, I'm checking right now, and I just confirmed it.
Awesome. I appreciate your time, Morgan. I'll definitely look forward to speaking to you on Monday, and I'll go ahead and shoot you those case studies. I may give you a call Monday morning just to confirm that time is good for you. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's completely fine as long as you don't call me too early. I'm not, I don't need a wake up call from you, but like, yeah, you can call me.
I wake up at 11 anyways.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Appreciate your time, Morgan.
All right, bye.
Yes, sir.
Amazing. Great job, Matthew.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely loved it. The chat is popping off. If you're not seeing it, it's absolutely popping off for you. Someone's just said it's the greatest call they've ever witnessed. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, I would screenshot that.
That put that on your resume.
Put on my resume.
Yeah,
right?
put on your resume.
Really, really, really great job. Yeah, I'll kick off, Morgan. I think so. A couple of things. Starting off with the things that you did really well. I love your introduction. I love the fact that you made him laugh. Like immediately talking about how how's your Thursday going. I like the how are you type statements anyway to humanize yourself. I've just mentioned that, so I think you did that expertly, and it was really, really fantastic to see. I also loved the way, and so we often cold calls are described as pattern interrupts. But I think you did a pattern interrupt within a pattern interrupt when you said at one stage, you said, what about if I could get that to 99%, right? And it was very blunt. Your tone completely shifted. And I think this is one thing that all salespeople need to think about is how their tone shifts depending on the point of the call. There it is, and also like what they're trying to do in that particular moment. Generally, earlier on in the call, you're going to be a bit more jazz handsy, a lot more relaxed, exactly as you were, Matthew. But at that point, your tone was very confident and serious, and like I say, I think it was a moment where everybody was like, oh, right, and that was so effective. The only thing that I would have loved, and I know we put pressure on you in terms of time, is that you could have given us something immediately to back up this 99% claim. I think that would have made it perfect. And I felt exactly the same way as Morgan. I think Morgan kind of set you up for that moment of like, do you have any case studies? I think a lot of prospects won't necessarily give you that in, and I think maybe you can't, right? I don't know, but like I think if you had a statement immediately like on hand of like, this is what we're doing that's so different, that's meaning it's 99%, and you keep that really short, I think you've got a killer cold call there overall, Matthew. So that would be my feedback.
I'll definitely add. I usually would lead them to the case study, but Morgan kind of beat me to it.
Okay.
But yeah. I definitely add a line. Yeah, I think you're 100% right though. Adding like a short line to like, this is how we do that. It's going to build his intrigue a little bit more so he can for sure show up to that call on Monday.
For sure. And I think, the problem with leading them to a case study is what you're doing is you're opening the door to just like, send me an email with the case study, and then we'll agree to the meeting, right? Like I want to cut out that, like I want to give them the information while I've got them on the call. But overall, you did a fantastic job. I'm nitpicking
Thanks,
a lot.
David. No, I appreciate that. I'm looking for the nitpicking. I'm looking for the areas of weakness so I can, because I'm fairly new to the company and trying to learn everything. Just trying to use what I have as years of experience, if you will.
Good stuff.
Is that a tiger? Is that a tiger behind you, Matthew?
That is a lion. I have no idea, but my 2-year-old calls it a rar.
I love it. So first of all, I don't know if y'all caught this, because this is the reason why I took the meeting, by the way, because he got me on these 3 lines, and I was like, oh shoot. And this is the way that I break down frameworks as well for clients. So you notice he said, hey, would it be crazy? He pulled that line on me. Hey, would it be crazy for us to like maybe chat about this? I was like, all right, it's not. So he got me there. Then the next one he hit me with was, yeah, would it be fair if we could get some time? Right? Because no one wants to be unfair. So he hit me with that one. So I was like, I guess I have to say yes to this because I don't want to be unfair. Right. And then I don't know if y'all caught the last one where he was like, yeah, can you confirm and accept that counter right before I leave? All right, so now I guess I got to accept this now. So like he just did a very, very thorough and concise close. And hopefully y'all caught that, or when you go watch the replay, how he did that. that's the way that you should be able to close people. And I didn't feel like I was being pushed to something. It wasn't aggressive. It just brought me right to that end close. And I thought that was really well. Another thing I want to add to David's point, and then I'll give a suggestion. So the thing I want to add is when you're talking about that 99%, maybe throw just in a quick customer quote. Be like, hey, 99%. And hey, you may think that's a little bit crazy, but we just had Bob at the warehouse, down the street. And here's his quote about the 99%. And then add in the quote. So that way you don't have to go into a whole monologue spiel on a case study. And if they need it, to David's point, you could send a follow-up email, but just add in that customer quote. The one thing, this is like extremely nitpicky, and I bring this up because I just think it's not needed on cold calls, saying that you sent a few emails. I think saying that you sent someone emails is just not worth the time. The chances of them saying that they saw the email and they liked it is so low that it's just a waste of your entire pitch. Don't even bring it up. If they bring up that they saw you in the email, great, but proactively bringing up that you sent an email isn't going to help you. So I just typically tell people throw that away. But otherwise, like, this is a great call and a great way to end the show.
Appreciate it. Much
Amazing.
love for us. Be on back next week, hopefully.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Matthew.
All right,
appreciate your time, guys.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
What a show, Morgan, eh?
That was a great show. Great job, everybody who came on, and some great examples. Hopefully you all learned and you found this to be helpful and impactful. If you did, let us know in the chat. We will be back next month. We'll let you know what the date is. I think Tim might be able to tell us. But we also have a video prospecting, video selling webinar show that we're going to do at the end of the month on the 28th, I believe. But again, Tim will let us know in the chat all those things. You all going to get the information.
I can confirm it is the 28th of March because it's actually my birthday, Morgan, and there's no bigger present than seeing you cut together some video prospecting. So I'll definitely be tuning in.
I love it. So I appreciate everybody who came in. We appreciate y'all. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day and you can take these tips that you learned and go execute. And we'll see you all in the next one. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.